Hey guys, we're here and we are doing the school nurse orientation. Thank y'all for coming. Right now, I'd like to introduce some of our office staff. I have Michelle Thompson to my right, and she does payroll and files, and she keeps us all in order. My name is Jan Foster. I'm the senior staffing manager. And then to my left is Janelle Adams. She is the staffing manager. And then right here is Pam Phillips, and she is our school nurse liaison. So she can answer any medical questions that we need. So the first thing I'd like to say is ATC, we're a nursing staffing agency. There's many staffing agencies out there, but ATC, we are the very best staffing agency ever. Our nurses, we have them to a very high standard. Now, when you come in to ATC, you know, you're going to have a lot of work to do. You have to get a file done. You have to get just testing, just a whole bunch of stuff done. Once you get all that done, then we start sending you on shifts. You become a part of our family. We just don't look at you as another nurse, just the nurse here or a number. You are part of our family. But to stay in our family, we do have things you do have to do. So that brings us to the next thing. We do a certificate called ATC School Nursing. What that is, you come in, well, I guess the first thing I need to do is explain why we did this. We all got together, we was trying to figure out what we could do to, you know, put our nurses up another level. So we decided to put you through some more training. More training. Training is always good. So what we did is we developed, we got onto, there's a website called myschoolnurse.com, and they have tons and tons of videos, education to help you with anything you might need. So we got the three best ones that you might deal with every day, such, I think it is diabetics, diastat, and asthma. So those are about the three main topics. So you watch a video, you have to work 10 shifts. Once you work those 10 shifts and you do not get any error, you don't have any errors, any complaints, anything, then you will be an ATC certified nurse. You'll start out making $1 less. That dollar, once you get through those shifts, again with no complaints or anything, then you're gonna you'll get your $1 back, and then you'll get a $50 bonus for the completion. So it all works out, but the advantages of being an ATC certified nurse is, say we have a nurse that is not certified and we have one that's certified. Well, if that one nurse, we will always ask the certified nurse to do something first. They will always get the picks of anything. So it's always great to get everything done and get your 10 shifts in, and then where you can become a ATC certified nurse. This is nothing you can use elsewhere. It's just here in our community here, but it is something to get. Okay. I've got a top 10 of the top 10 things that you must do to stay in our family. The first one, when you're a school nurse, you always have to be on time. That was one of the main complaints last year. If you're scheduled 7:30 to 3, you gotta be there at 7:30. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. Understand things happen and traffic. Always allow time to get there, because it just doesn't look professional. And you know, you may have a student who's a diabetic who needs you right then at 7:30. Your schedule is there for a reason, so always be on time. If that chance you're not going to be on time, always call and let either myself or Janelle know. Okay? The next thing, never disrespect authority. Authority is there for a reason. When you go into a school, you do have a boss. Some people seem to think that, hey, I'm just here. I do what I want to do. You're not my boss. I don't have to do that. But you do. Of course, we're your boss. But at the school, the principal and the lead nurse is your boss. So if they ask you to do something, you need to do it. And we're saying all these things because all these things have happened, so that's where we're getting all these lists. Next one, no sleeping on the job. Yes, we cannot sleep on the job, and we've had that happen again. A principal walk into the office and there's someone sleeping. We don't tolerate that. That happens, you're gone. There's no second chance or, hey, I'll just rest in my eyes. You're gone. You're just gone. Let's see. The next one is dress professionally. If you look at Pam, she's in her scrubs. She's nice, neat, and then closed-toe shoes. Never wear flip-flops, sandals, anything like that. You're on a nursing job. Be professional. Your hair, make sure it's always styled, pulled back, what have you. Okay? Documentation. That was another problem we had last year. Nurses going in PRN, and that's just, hey, I got a shift here, shift there. Going in, not documenting. You have to document. There needs to be a story there from the time you get there to the time you leave. If you cannot get in the systems, because they do, the schools use iNow. So if you're just there for a day and you can't get in the system, you should have nurses' notes and just start writing nurses' notes. I'm here, what time you got there, Johnny came in, had a cut finger, what you did, who you called. Make sure the nurse for tomorrow knows exactly what you're doing or what had happened the day before. Be accountable for your own actions. We all make mistakes. We all do. But be accountable. I've done plenty of things myself that I might not be proud that I've done, but I admit I did them, and then we can only learn from that. If you keep on doing it, that's another story. But always be accountable and tell the truth and admit if you do anything wrong. Next thing, if you don't know, ask. There's never a stupid question, never. You have a pod leader, and that's the nurse over certain areas. You have the DON, I guess you would call her, over all the schools. You're always going to have a number. If you don't, call us. You have our cell phone number. Call us, and we will get you what you need, or get the person to call you, whatever. Just always don't assume, and if you don't know, just ask, okay? Always leave your documentation for the nurse coming on duty or the next day, where she will know exactly what had happened, and where they won't have to call you, track you down, and you have to go back. So just always leave your documentation with you. If you ever have to leave in the middle of the day, for whatever reason, you always have to call your pod leader and get permission and call us. Sometimes you might not leave. If we can find somebody to replace you, then okay. But, as nurses, if it's a school, if it's a nursing home, if it's a hospital, you have to be there. You're there for these kids. If somebody has, there's kids in the schools now that have trachs, that has diastat orders. It's like a little clinic. It's not like back in the day when I was going to school, have a headache, that's all you do is go to the nurse, and it wasn't even a nurse. So, we came a long way with nurses. So just always remember, do your best, be professional, just think through what you're going to do. It may be busy, it may be a lot, but just always think through what you're going to do. And if you ever need help, we're here. We're your backup. If you can't find anybody, always call us, okay? All right. Well, I'm going to turn it over to Michelle, and she's going to tell you a little bit about payroll and what she does in the files.
So I'm Michelle, and y'all will get to know me very well, probably just as well as you know the staffers. I'm going to tell you how our paydays run and, just explain a little bit to you about that. Our paydays are on Mondays, and we do process a week behind. So say you work something this week, I have to have the timesheets in before 2 o'clock on Monday, and then I'll process next week, and you'll have a check to pick up. It'll be dated for Monday. We do allow you to pick them up on Fridays after 2. We do direct deposit as well. In your hiring packet, at the back of it, you'll see there's a direct deposit slip. You fill that out and turn it in with a voided check. And it takes 2 to 3 pay cycles for that to be set up. You also have to make sure you have all of your file finished. And that includes all of the paperwork, all of your documentation as far as your credentials and everything. All the testing has to be done. With the testing, like I said, all of that has to be done before I can even put you in the system to get you a paycheck cut. And we send that over to you. I send you an email with the link in there. There's 5 tests and a checklist. So it's pretty straightforward there. If you ever have any problems with that, you can always let me know. Let's see. So our paydays are on Mondays. Like I said, the checks will be dated for Monday. We also, in your hiring packet, there's a top 10 like housekeeping notes, and it goes over all of our policies. Most of it Jan went over, but that's a written thing, and there's a little quiz in there just to make sure that you read it. You do have to sign that and do the quiz and sign that as well. There's one in there that deals with how to, it's called Do Your Job. But it deals with, how you present yourself on the job and things, and there's a little quiz with that as well. If you ever have any problems with the timesheets, and I'll give you ladies some timesheets before we leave, I'll show you how to fill them out. If you ever have any problems with that, feel free to call me. You can text the staffers, email me. I'm always available to answer questions when it comes to the timesheets, because we have to make sure those are filled out properly so that we can make sure you get paid. And I believe anything else, that's it. So, like I said, my name is Michelle. If y'all have any questions about timesheets or payroll or anything, just let me know.
Hi, everybody. I'm Pam. I'm the nurse liaison for Birmingham City. I am going to go over what's in our Birmingham City binder for ATC. The first topic that I'm going to go over is the day in a health room. The first thing we do when I arrive at the school, I come in, I get everything out, I get my binder, I make sure that I have everything done, and you review what students you have, you look at your medication list, you're gonna do your emergency meds, make sure everything is still where it's supposed to be. And as far as your health plans, now everything is in the computer now. You just click on that student name, you can pull up everything that's in there. If you're sub, you'll be able to do it. If you're full-time, you have to put it in there. I have documentation, and I will email it to you if you need it on what it looks like, the paperwork, and you can get that done. But as far as everything else, if you're going to be a sub, it will be a sub binder. You will have an emergency plan that you can go look at for your diabetics, for your inhalers, for your medications, and all of that will be in there. And it should be detailed where your Band-Aids are. It should be telling you where your blood pressure cuffs is, your stethoscope, everything. Supposed to be. The next topic is how sick is too sick to be at school. From what I was told by my part leader, and one thing about it, utilize your part leader. That is what I did all the time. If I had a question, I called her. She would tell me what to do. 100 Fahrenheit temperature, they have to go home. No questions asked, they gotta go. Any type of rash that you think that may be just, what is the ringworm, anything like that, if that's contagious, they have to go home. They can't stay there. And it is a sheet that comes with it, and it's in English and it's in Spanish. I have that too. So that's why I said if you give me an email, I can send you all of that, and it should be in your binder too. And also, the nurse contact list is going to have your part leader's name, and it's going to have their phone number on it. So you should be able to get in touch with them. If not, you can ask at the front desk. They should have a current one. If not, Ms. Woodard, the health secretary downtown, she can look up the numbers for your part leader. She will be a good resource to go to. Chain of command, as I said, part leader. First, you'll start with the principal, then to your part leader. ATC, you want to contact them too, whenever anything is going on. As far as health assessments forms, this past year, they were paper. And you have to put them in a binder and alphabetize them. You don't have to do that this year. They're online. So you don't have to do it. You just look it up online now.
So the health assessment for each kid would be in their own?
The parents will be putting them in.
Oh, okay.
The parents put them in now. We don't have to do anything now with those. They're in the computer. So yes, that's one thing now we don't have to do. Immunizations. We have immunizations that 6th graders, I think, get the Tdap. Right. So you will get a lot of those blue forms in. We have something called the CUME files. Ask your secretary at the front desk. She can tell you where to put them. They know where they're located because they're the ones that put everything in the CUME files. So just ask, where do I put this? They will direct you where to go. And the parents will bring them to you because you're the nurse. You just go to the front office and ask them, where do I put these? And they'll tell you it goes in the CUME files. You can go in there and the secretary. The only 2 people that can go in there. Medication information. I have to bring my binder with me. And this is basically what you guys will have. It's also a checklist. It's quality assurance. It tells you exactly if you had a state to come. It's a checklist of everything you have to do to make sure that the med cabinets are locked. They want it neat and organized. What I did last year at the school that I'm at, I brought my label maker.
Oh, okay.
And I put on the med cart, inhalers, meds, PRNs. I kind of got it organized. And as far as the inhalers with the labels, you can also put those in a bag and put their name on it. So you can't put it in a Ziploc bag. And it tells you on here, they don't want any medicines in a Ziploc bag at all. So this is what I went by last year. Sample meds, they have to be labeled. So if the doctor gives the kid sample meds, they have to put a label with the name on it. Like when it comes from the pharmacy, they have to put, if they just have to write it on a post-it note that it came from there, they have to have something on there saying it's there.
For that person.
And it has to have the order, tab, PO.
I would verify something like that, a sample med.
Oh, they have to bring the PPA form in too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they have to have, even for PRNs, you have to have a PPA form.
Okay.
It has to be a doctor's orders. They can't just bring Tylenol in and say, hey, I want them to have this. Got to be doctor's orders.
Okay.
And the reason they did that is to cut down from having like 4 or 5 meds for a student, like Benadryl. It's like you would have a stack
A medicine.
of medicines for one child. So now we have to have doctor's orders. Let's see what else. Over-the-counter medicines, just went over that. Multival, the insulin. Most of them that I get now are pens. In the refrigerator, you're supposed to have a refrigerator in your office. And you can print it out, and I put on the front of it, student meds only. And nothing else can go in there. And it should be one that locks at the bottom. If not, still you just put it on there and it goes in your office. In between each puff, they have to wait a minute.
Right.
So what I do, I give them a little timer, and I have the minute on there. They hit the minute, and they know once it goes off, they hit it again. And I think it's 4 puffs. It used to be 2.
It used to be. It depends on the physician.
Yeah. And most of the ones I have now, 4 puffs, but I get the little timers and I set it down there, and most of them, they're old enough to work it, no problem. Proper document in iNow. When you first start with that, it's pretty hard, but after you get used to it, it's self-explanatory.
Okay.
You'll be able to, if you got any questions, I can walk you through it. Because when I first got into it, yeah, it was
foreign.
It was. And you have to put the medications in there for the students. You have to put all that in there. You're going to have to put the times. And most of that, you're going to need somebody to show you how to do it. PRN documentation. For my PRNs, when you give those, always write down your time and initial it at the top. That's because before we get an iNow, it's gonna take a few weeks before we get in.
Okay.
So basically we use the Mars. But once we get into iNow, you just click on it and it'll give you time to put in there. But in the MAR, initial and time it. And another FYI with that, with the PPA forms, when they come in, it has to be signed by the physician. Also, the medicine they bring in, it has to match that PPA form exactly.
Does it have to be in the original container too?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Even if it's over-the-counter medications, can't be open.
Right.
They can't just bring the bottle in and say, okay, the doctor ordered this here. It has to be in the box, unopened. The individual healthcare plans, I also have those in here. It should be in your binders about the asthma. Basically, what you'll do when the parents bring in the medications, I always ask what triggers it, because that's what it's going to ask in your plan. Like, what would trigger it? Is it seasonal? Seasonal? Is it
Activity.
is it heat? Is it? And that's basically what you're gonna put.
Okay, very sure.
And it's also, it has on here for field trips, who to contact. And it will tell you if you need to call 911. I mean, it basically just step by step tells you what you need to do. It has one for your anaphylactic, people with allergies. It's gonna tell you what to do. Even your ADHD, it's gonna tell you what to do.
Okay.
You have your seizures. And with seizures, they break it down to even a seizure log. And you also have it to where you have something that you can give the ambulance. And I have an example. I have a student, he basically had one in the cafeteria and went down there. He was out, didn't remember anything, did all the assessment and had urinated on himself. The basic thing, I was like, call 911 because he needed to go.
Right.
And mom was a volunteer
Oh, okay.
at the school. And, she was like, he never had one before like this. And it was like, send him out. So, yeah, that was a good thing that she was there. But if not, usually I send them out. But if it's just like a little twitch or anything, no. But that, yes. Yes. What else? Let's see. All right, now to the biggest part, the diabetic. Now they have a new way of doing it. Usually it went from August to May. Now it's for a whole year. Like if they got it in September, it'll last until September. And if they went to the doctor in August, it lasts to that next August. So you don't throw them away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you don't throw, you leave them in the, locked up. Because now they're not individual healthcare plans. This is what they used to look like. And this is the old one from Children's. This is the new one from Children's. And when you look at it, you really don't tell a difference. But the difference is, and we went to a class last year on this. They changed it because the parents needed nurses going with the students on field trips, practices like football, volleyball, basketball practices. They wanted a nurse there with the diabetics. And the new thing too, this is new. Instead of having the sheets we used to have, this is what I was used to. That's the old way. Now it breaks it down better. Instead of just saying, oh, if they were low, you do this. Now it's if they were nauseated, if they threw up. It breaks it down more detail. Yes, it's more detail now. And I like the way that they're doing it. And it works better. And you're able to get the blood sugar up or down. And another thing that you will do when you get into iNow, and this will cover them too when they go on field trips after school that I was just talking about. This is their emergency care plan. This used to be their emergency and healthcare plan. This is it now. You will get the parents to sign this. You'll have them to look it over. They're gonna put all their information here because you're gonna need to know how to contact them if something happens while they're at an activity. This is telling you what all they need. If they get extra snacks, it tells you if they're exercising, if they eat something, in the event of a field trip. I mean, it breaks it down to even riding on the school bus. So this is very good. And then you have the same thing that's in here that goes with them. And even down to their classes. If they have to have a paraprofessional with them, it gives them their classes. And that's the good thing about this. But this is something you definitely have to have the parents to sign. because this is the biggest thing that you'll have. You're gonna go with your diabetics. You have to have a nurse field trip. Diabetic nurse have to go. And with that too, Jan said they had a lot of problems last year with like the correction factor, the carb counts, them like kind of not being able to get the numbers right. And so she wanted me to go over that. And have y'all heard of a correction factor? Usually with the correction factor, it's gonna be whatever their blood sugar is at that time. And the doctor will choose the target number, and he will choose the point that he wanted divided by.
Okay.
So basically it would be the blood sugar minus, I say 160 divided by 30. And you're gonna do that. Whatever that comes out to be, it'll be like 10.6. You're gonna either see, you're gonna round it to the next unit, you're gonna round up, or you're gonna round down, or they'll have an equal mark. And with that one, you will do a carb to ratio. You're gonna have two to add up. You're gonna have your carb count and your correction factor. If it's over, usually I have, if it's over 180, 200, you'll know to give it. Your carb to insulin ratio, usually you're gonna see it as 1 unit per 15 carbs, 1 unit per 10 carbs. And then you have some doctors that will write it 1 and they'll do the colon,
Then another.
and then the number is still the same. Mm-hmm. It's just dependent on the doctor. And basically what that is, you're gonna add up, and these right here that's in the binder, for Birmingham City, they don't work.
They no good.
No good.
Where's the food? Where's the food?
You can tell I did my research. These are from Birmingham City. You can go on their website under nutrition. And when you're, and even without access, you just can go on that website,
For nutrition.
nutrition. You go down to the bottom, and I'm gonna give y'all my email address and my phone number, and you can call me. I can walk you through it. This is basically what they have. This was my best friend
Oh,
for my diabetics, because I would get the calendar from the director, the child nutrition director in the cafeteria. I would do that each month. I would go get my calendar. I would add up all my cards for that whole month. And once my students came in, I would already have this done. And I'm telling you, this will help. Some of it, depending on it, is not on there, but 95% of it is on that website. The other ones that's in there, not so much. And if you get a student that has to have a special diet, like a gluten-free, they'll come in, the parent will bring it in. You'll make a copy, and you'll take one down to the director in the cafeteria. And you'll keep a copy and put it in the MAR in the back. And usually I would just put like an initial back there so I know who it is. And with the diabetics, usually they don't have a special diet, but they are taught how to eat. Another rule of thumb, always watch them, because they will tell you their blood sugar is 141 and their blood sugar be 400. Me, what I do, My diabetics are older, and they will tell me, it's like, give it here, and I look at it myself, and that's one thing about it. And I tell them, if it's high, I call the parents. If they're low that day, I call the parents. I just kind of let them know what it's been, because once they go back to the doctor, they have to let them know what it's been running. And usually the good parents will call you. Mm-hmm. How has their blood sugars been running? And I will kind of like go down and be like, okay, on this day, it was this, it was that. He was kind of high this day. And most of the times, like my parent, I got a good one. She'll go, oh yeah, he's out of his Atlantis, that's why it ran high that day. I can say, I have a good one. Don't have no problems. Field trips covered, it's good. One thing about it, once you get a good school, you'll love it. The school that I have, love it. And another thing that I had last year were teacher accidents. I had one to break her elbow. I had one, I think she just kind of hit her head a little bit. I had to send, and the other one, it wasn't an accident. I think she was threatening a stroke. What I usually do, I get the principal, if he's not their vice principal, and they'll come and talk to him, tell him you need to go. But once the ambulance comes, they're gonna tell us it's up to them if they want to go. They can't refuse. And usually they refuse. They'll get somebody else to take them.
Oh, okay.
But you'll have that too. And also I've had staff with low blood sugars. And the first person they're gonna call, gonna be you.
Because they think you know what to do.
And that's it.
911.
And that's what I would do. I would walk in. I said, call 911. Her blood sugar is 23. I said, I can't do anything. I said, does she have orange juice? Do we have anything we can give her? Does she have glucagon? Do we have anything? No. I said, 911. I said, it's nothing I can give her.
Right.
I said, they're going to have to give her IV. I said, they're going to have to give her probably Amped D50. I said, it's nothing I can do for her. And you're going to have fights.
Okay.
And like fights, babies, pre-K to whatever grade yours go up to. I had pre-K, first graders fighting, hit in the eye with shoes. I've had all of that. I even had a student with a concussion. And also another thing, you're gonna be a new face. So you're gonna have some parents that are gonna send medicine by students.
Can't take that.
Mm-mm. You have to get it from the student, call the parents, and tell them they need to pick it up. Can't give it back to the students.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to call the parents, tell them pick it up. And they're gonna get mad, but they may tell you, and like they told me last year, well, the nurse before that, she let me do it. And I'm like, okay, that's not me though. You have to come pick it up. You don't have a PPA form. A student cannot bring their medicines in.
It has to be brought by a parent.
It has to be brought by a parent, an adult with a form. And you have kids that get sick, and the parents, you call them,
To pick them up.
won't answer, or they answer and said they're on their way.
It'd be 2 hours.
Oh no, I give them 30 minutes.
So at 30 minutes, then they don't come. You call
I
back.
call back, and if they don't answer the phone, I leave a message. And I tell them that I'm giving them 30 minutes, and if they're not there, I'll just have to go a step further.
Like,
I don't say I'm gonna call DHR. I just say I'm gonna have to go a step farther. That's when you get that call back.
oh, okay.
I'm on my way.
Okay.
I'm right around the corner. Because they will wait until 2:45.
Time to pick them up.
And if you got a baby running a fever or vomiting, they need to go home.
Right.
I usually highlight what is going on with that student. I will put their name at the top. If it's a temp, I put that temp on there, what time I took that temp. And I will make a copy for myself to keep with me, and I give one to the parent. I'll explain to them that time on there, 24 hours. If they have ran a fever or have not ran a fever, within that 24 hours, they can come back at that time. If they run a fever, they can't come back. If they don't, you can't be giving them Tylenol. Like I told them, ibuprofen, Tylenol, that don't count. They have to go without Tylenol, ibuprofen, within those 24 hours.
Before they can come back.
It has to be 24 hours.
They can't.
We're trying to keep down of the kids being sick. I said, it has nothing to do with we don't want her here. I said, we don't want the other kids sick. These are not my rules. And I let them know this is Birmingham City, this is not me.
Standard rules.
It's standard rules, and that's what I tell them. And like I tell them, I say, even temps, rash, any type of drainage, vomiting, diarrhea, I say any of this, itching, I told them, I said, we cannot let them come back. I said, and I didn't make this. I said, this is not mine. I said, chicken pox, I said, we have rules. I said, and this is Alabama. I said, it's just, you can't do it. And field trips. That's another thing I want to talk about. Because you'll have field trips going on. They have a sheet that goes with the form, and it tells you exactly everything you need to do for the field trip. Utilize your med assistants, because you got to take a break. Usually it's your counselor or your secretary. Ask your counselor or the secretary, they can usually tell you who your med assistant is. It's usually them because you're usually in the office area. That's where your office is gonna be. If you're gonna do K-8, you're gonna want one for your elementary, and you're gonna want one for your middle school. And usually you want somebody that can go that don't have a class, or that can leave and have somebody else in their class. Like the counselor, she can leave and go on the field trips if need be. But the first thing you will want to do is get your part leader to recertify them. They have to be recertified every year. You're gonna find their certificates on the wall. And when you get ready to fill this out, and if you do need a nurse, at the bottom, you're gonna have the students that needs a nurse. I basically put the student and what the problem is. Miss Woodard, you email it to her or fax it. She'll send it to Jan or Janelle or Michelle, and they'll find a nurse. She'll have all that done, and the nurse will show up. They usually, I say like 2 or 3 days before the field trip, we'll email you and say, nurse so-and-so will be there. She will be going on the field trip. So I already know who it is. I go ahead, type up what she needs to know about the students, have everything ready. When she gets there, we do our count, and we're done. When they get back, we count it back out. Let's see, what else? Emergencies. We have had, well, we haven't had any emergencies, but we do like the drills. What we usually do for drills, we push the whole med cart out. We have rolling med carts. We push the whole med cart out. What I do, I keep it locked. As soon as I finish giving my meds, lock it back. I keep a lanyard around my neck, so I know it's with me. I have it locked, pushed it out, go outside, everything is with me. My mark book, I usually try to keep it on the top or in the bottom, but usually it's going to be on top because my kids are coming in. When they do the drill, you make sure everything is closed, all the doors are closed. You make sure everybody is out. You get anything as far as student-wise, you're going to get all of their stuff. One thing about your rolling cart, keep your PRNs, everything on it, so you got everything with you. Even your diabetic stuff, keep that on there too. And that's what I did last year. So when we did our drills, everything is on there. You good. You don't have to try to go everywhere and get everything. This right here, your student log. Even though you have I now, I still put my students on here, and you're gonna put down your students too that come in for scrapes, Band-Aids, any other stuff. And it's just, you may use 2 in a day. You may use just this one. I had it to where I have used 3 in a day. But it's good to have because at the end of the month, we have to do this. This is a monthly report. It's basically how many kids we had sick, how many injuries, how many I sent home, how many returned to class, how many medicines I gave, catheterizations, tube feeding. It basically breaks down what we did. And basically if you need a nurse at that school. And that's why I keep this, because I can go back and go, okay, I had this, and I add them up. This is the nurse's note Chance was talking about. And this is usually what I start out with last year. And every student that come in, even if it's a cut on the finger, I do one. That's until you get I now. And with that, you can have all that put in a binder. And I'm gonna talk with Ms. Woodard too and see about supplies, but you should have some binders there. Just ask the people in the office and they usually can get you some. They usually have some. At the end of the year, you're gonna get a folder, a manila envelope, and you're gonna put school year 2016, 2017 for this. Anything that you did that year, you never leave it out. You're gonna put it in a file cabinet, and it's gonna go in there, and you put.
They have to keep it for so many years.
They have to keep it for so many years, and that's what I did with all my nurses' notes. And temperatures for the refrigerator. That's another thing too that they wanted us to do. Record daily. This is something that I told you about the accidents. You fill that out too, and you send it to your pod leader. This one is student.
Okay.
They also have one for employee.
Employee.
Oh, another thing is something I forgot. All you can use is soap and water. You can't use alcohol, peroxide, Neosporin.
Wait, you don't use it on the kids.
Can't use it on the kids. On the soap and water. You can call the parent and tell them they cut their hand today or they got a scrape today, and I wash it off with soap and water. But once they get home, you know, if you want to put some Neosporin or something on it, you can. We can't do it at school. And that's the way I used to do it.
Okay.
But yeah, that was another thing. I knew it was something else I had to tell you. But other than that, that's it. And I'm going to give y'all my phone number and email address. If you have any questions, I will let you know.